Hi, this is Kim, and I'm going to record a video of practice tests that I gave to all my classes. Here it is. It says it was the tax and safe places for money test I gave over the summer. So here we go. First question: what is the average tax rate on taxable income of $48,000 and tax due of $24,35? Well, I hope you remember that the average tax rate is in fact tax due divided by taxable income, which would mean this is 2435 divided by 48,000, and that equals, hold on one sec, about 5%. Next question. 4 advantages of cash equivalents. I think we all remember this quite well. Liquidity. Second, safety. Emergency fund. It, I would also say it's our foundation. Just peace of mind. Those would be great. Next question. Should Sarah take a tuition deduction of $2,500 or a credit of $1,000 if she is in the 20% tax bracket? Now remember that deductions are only as powerful as your tax bracket. So what do I mean by that? $2,500 deduction reduces taxes by 20%, which is your tax bracket. So that is equivalent to $500. So obviously $500 is not as great of a reduction as $1,000, so she should take the credit. Question number 4, I think you can figure that out. That was a pretty easy question. Question number 5 states Susan has the following tax information. Okay, well, this is similar to the problem we did in the book, so let's start off with our all of our income categories. So that's going to be 50,000 plus tips 11,000, another income category, plus Social Security earnings $3,000. Let's see, I don't see any other earnings, so that would be our total. So that looks like 50, 61, 64,000 in total income. Now from total income, we're going to look to subtract adjustments. And up here I see an IRA deduction, which we know is an adjustment. So we're going to now subtract from 64,000 the IRA deduction of 2,000 and the tuition adjustment, because it says adjustment, of 400. Not a credit, and I do not see anything else up here. So let's go for that. So 64,000 subtract 2,000 is 62,000, subtract 400, and so we should end up with 61,600. Yep. Okay, now we're at, this is AGI. From adjusted gross income, we have a choice. We're either going to take itemized deductions or the standard deduction, whichever is higher. So on here, itemized deductions are 6,800, and we remember that the standard deduction is 63. So we're going to take itemized deductions. So take 61,600 and subtract 6,300. And we also know here that we subtract our personal exemption. I did not write it here because I expect that you will remember this, and it is $4,000. So from that 61,600, subtract total of $10,300, and that gives us $51,300. I believe I'm done because it asked me for taxable income, and I know that taxable income only talks about all of our deductions, and that credits come after we calculate tax due. So $51,300 is my answer. Number 6, identify the proper financial worksheet. Again, B for balance sheet and C for cash flow. So our personal residence is an asset on our balance sheet. Gym membership payment, that's just a monthly payment, cash flow. Credit card payment, another payment each month, cash flow. Student loan disbursement is most likely going to go to your checking account, and so it will be an income portion of your cash flow statement. Internet service, again, cash flow. Mortgage balance, the big balance, anything like that goes on balance sheet. In this case, it would be a liability. Starbucks beverage, cash flow. Parking pass, cash flow. Commission check, also just part of your salary, goes in your income, cash flow. New outfit, cash flow. How much tax would you pay on taxable income of $4,500? Like I told you, everyone for this test is single, so I'm going to go over here to the tax bracket for 2015. I'm going to look at a single filer. Here we go. And I have $45,000. So over here I'm going to use this line right here. And I told you to start from the back. So you're going to take $45,000 and we're going to subtract $37,450. 45. Subtract $3,750, and that equals $7,550. The next thing we do is multiply that by 25%, because again, we're staying on this line. And that is 1,887. Forget the cents. And now we add to that this last amount, 5156. And that equals 7,043. Tax due. Number 8. Describe 4 types of cash equivalents, and I meant to describe them. I'm not going to do that here, but I will give you one example. So MMA, money market account, is a bank product, more restrictive than a savings. We know that it might have a minimum balance, might have withdraw limit, etc. So again, it's more restrictive. Still very low interest rates. That would be good enough. And then you would need to describe 3 more. Probably the most difficult mathy problem on the quiz. So again, we're going to start with the question, what are taxes due? Now we're going to go all the way through the tax tables. First thing we're going to go with is salaries, any kind of income. So we have 85,000 plus tips, $5,000. We have any other type, doesn't look like we have any other income categories. So that's our $90,000. That's total income. Now we're going to take 90,000 and we're going to subtract off any adjustments. This is deduction, deduction, deduction. IRA deduction. There's our first adjustment. $5,000. credit, credit, credit. Don't see any other adjustments. So that equals $85,000, which is AGI, adjusted gross income. From AGI, we're going to either go itemized or standard. In this case, itemized is $10,000, and we know that standard was $6,300, so we'll go with the $10,000. And also subtract here our personal exemption, which is $4,000 for a single person. So 85 down to 75 down to 71,000. This is taxable income. Now we have to go to the tax tables. And I gave you the tax rate of 15%. If I give it to you, this is what you use. You don't actually have to go through and do the tax tables. So I'm going to say 71,000 multiplied by 0.15, which is not very realistic because we know that we'd be somewhere up in this tax area. But anyway, so we'll take that 71,000 and multiply it times 0.15, and that gives us $10,650 tax. But we have a bunch of credits, so we're going to take the $10,650 and we're going to start subtracting credits of 500, 2,000, oops, and earned income credit. Subtract 400, and that equals $7,750. Final tax due. Oh, but one more thing. We already had taxes withheld during the year of $2,200, so we have to take that off. $7,750 subtract $2,200, and we're left with $5,550 that we owe the federal government. I'm just going to say the IRS. Next question. Describe 2 reasons why AGI is important. Remember, we talked about this. It's really eligibility. Eligibility for credits, some deductions on Schedule A, like the medical, the dental, the job-related expenses. So it's really for a lot of eligibility. Plays a role in Roth and financial aid. Number 11, 2 reasons why studying taxes is important. I really hope you can come up with multiple reasons why studying taxes is important. Number 12 says find a rate, a 5-year CD online, list the bank rate, fees, if any, and minimum deposit. So you should remember here that you're going to go to bankrate.com and you're going to look this up, and you know the bank, you can tell the rate, fees if any, again will show up on Bankrate, and then the minimum deposit, that is to open the account if it requires any at all. Next question, how does a money market account differ from a standard savings? Well, I already answered that above, so you can refer to that. How much money will you make annually on $1,000 deposited in a savings account paying 0.05%? And I cannot tell you how many times in the past students have missed this problem. So the math says we have to change this to a decimal. We need to move the decimal over 2 places to the left. So that would be 0.0005 multiplied by 1,000 equals what? When you punch it into your calculator, it's going to give you a dollar value, and you don't need to change it back to anything. So 1,000 multiplied by 0.0005 equals 50 cents. And we've been talking about this in class. We talk about some of our national banks, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, paying 0.01%. 0.01. We say, oh yeah, that's a dime that we can go find out in the parking lot or somewhere on the floor of our car. So zero point zero 0.01 to zero point zero 0.05 is just 5 times difference. So that would be 50 cents. Nothing, effectively nothing. Number 15, what's a major disadvantage of keeping money in a jar? Okay, well, we have lost earnings in the form of interest or however else we might invest it. And the second thing is actually losing value, lost earnings and inflation. Inflation, decreasing value. Two very specific reasons. Extra 2 points. Why should an individual file a tax return? Well, they only made $2,000 and they won't owe any taxes. Well, what if their employer took taxes out during the year? There is a possible refund. Or what if they qualify for a refundable credit? A refundable credit says if you're eligible for the credit and you don't owe any tax, you'll still receive a tax refund, and some credits are refundable. So that would be two very good reasons. The practice, just to learn. I mean, we could have come up with a number of things. So I'm going to now save this and post it in the various websites and wish you luck on the quiz this week. Thanks. Bye.